And yeah, let's look at the developer insights. So in this section, we will actually go through as Tom already mentioned, like how the compounds developed over time, and some other interesting factors from the developer side. So let's take a look.
So this first slide is showing a little bit how we work together with concept art. They supported us greatly with this map, for example. So they designed like kit bashed a new steam engine to be used in the coal mine that powers the conveyor belt, for example. Or they helped us greatly with the development of this new shipyard, this cool unique building shape. And these are not always like just beauty renders which you would see in like marketing material and so on. When we do real like game production, we basically just want the idea. So there's a saying that concept art is communication, and that basically what it comes down to. So the church over paint clearly communicates what we wanted to do in the game and gave us enough to work with. The same goes for the other images. It's just very cool. And also we had tried to involve many parties, also of course other feedback from the team, and just make it very interesting and varied.
It's awesome. And yeah, then other few concept arts of some of the compounds.
More examples. You see here, it's very cleanly styled with like flat surfaces. It shows us very clearly the purpose of each area, where are the entrances, give us an idea about the colors and so on. And yeah, it's just great to work off such good concept art. It's really nice.
It's the backside of the same compound as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think it actually looks quite cool, almost like a painting, honestly.
Yeah, totally. A lot of those are painted over in-game screenshots. So this is how we do it then in production. Of course, we have much more, but we just share like a selection of those sort of images, just to give you an idea of what we're doing in production. These are some earlier shots from DeSalle. So they look relatively far already, but this was sort of like how the compound looked with quite minimum dressing. So it was the way we built DeSalle is we first worked on the new facades, on the buildings, and then we created groups of these new buildings and just tried to distribute them into like a nice street layout. That was it basically. But you see a lot of the foundation, what is now in DeSalle was already in this earlier version. Of course, the saloon is completely missing. That came later. The same goes for the bank building. There were just placeholder brushes there.
Awesome.
This is a very old shot of DeSalle. So here you see it looked completely different. We didn't have the new facades. We just used what we have in terms of assets. You see the saloon, it looked more like the town hall from Auden Parish in a way. And yeah, we just decided that is not gonna go well. Like in a real Western town, each house is different, so they don't copy them. You know, that was just not working. Each had to be unique, and so we put in the work to make everything more unique and build a lot of new assets for DeSalle.
And yeah, I just love the 2 chairs and table floating over the compound.
It's just a developer shot. Just to give you a bit of an idea where we're coming from. But when we block out the compound, we actually do it with like old assets and things like that. And then we make notes what we want to change and create tasks and so on.
Awesome.
This is an example now. Like we just created all the houses, all the facades, all the colors. That's also, of course, fresh. We use a lot more colors in DeSalle than we used in any other map. Just to keep it interesting for you guys.
And yeah, I think this is the segment with the progression shots, if I'm right.
I think we're already straight in it, more or less. But okay, yeah. This is the original blockout for the bank. Also just using existing assets. We took some of this old interior layout, but also some stuff was redone. For example, in this version, there was a building site on top. So the idea was the building was half finished, but it wasn't playing so well, and we ditched that. And this is then what it became.
Yeah, it looks completely different.
So we actually finished the construction side ourselves during production.
Yes,
Right. So again, the progression shots from Upper DeSalle.
Yeah, very old build. You can see the trees are still green. It's very barren, but this is like the first. So all of these shots in this style you'll see now are more from the very first prototype-ish state, where we then found what we would want to move forward with and started to really flesh it out. And you'll see that in these shots there's always 3 shots. So it's the old one, and a more advanced one, and then a pretty much final one.
Yeah, it's just insane how it changes.
Huge change.
Yeah. Just so again, like from this to this, it's like.
yeah, but the base layout is still there, and
True.
Exactly.
Another one for in the same manner. So this is early development, then more finished with the shipyard, and then the final.
Yeah,
just,
like we really iterate on
so
that
crazy.
stuff. We really we weren't happy. The second version wasn't bad, but it was just not special enough for us. So we iterate on that till we're happy.
Yeah, it's like just like crazy to see in the end, like how everything is replaced and like finalized in details, and everything is just amazing. Here's another example of the same. So very early development and more finished.
This is also the shipyard, yeah.
Yeah. And then again, the final, which looks completely different. Yeah, so this is the lumber mill. And the final, it's amazing. But there's so many additions. For example, on the right side, for example, the huge plank area where you can walk up is like completely added at the end. And
yeah, there's like many things we review. So we do like lots of of course gameplay reviews where we do changes based on, but also pure art reviews. So in this compound, just to give an example, there was like things like a giant, very heavy bridge just to close like a small gap, which just visually makes no sense. You wouldn't build it like that, and maybe you don't consciously understand, what is going on, but you subconsciously think, nah, that doesn't look right, and something is wrong here. And then, we try to make more sense of the whole construction, the infrastructure, and this is also why the bridge, for example, was removed here.
Amazing. Then this is the plantation. Yeah. So again, sorry. From this to this.
Yeah, this was not that crazy progression. That looked really cool in the beginning already.
I mean, it's like completely different statue
and building.
Yeah,
the base building already is really good, and just refined.
A lot of the surroundings changed, but the base building was pretty good from the get-go. Spot on. We kept it.
Here you can see the old assets to try out new things.
And here it's a lot about the entrances and the surroundings, which you will see change. The main building, as far as I know, is not changing that much.
Yeah, and
see how the whole compound structure changes completely. Like we talk a lot about theming, so we want you to be able to orient yourself well, and so we theme the areas differently. So one area should be more like the coal area, another area should be more like the rocky area, and maybe another area is a bridge, and so on. So just that you clearly have a mental map of where you are, and this works, for example, a lot improved in this compound.
Yeah, here as well you can see how much
structure of the satellite buildings and so on.
Yeah, and again, as I mentioned with the lumber as well, here, again, what you can see is just expanding the theme, just really expanding it out, and almost blend into the next theme from the compound over. It really goes hand in hand.
Amazing stuff. Yeah, a few more angles for the same, as you can see. So as the guys already said, like during the process of creating the new map, obviously you playtest a bunch on like to try out things, and then in that part you can reuse like older things, and when you can finalize and decide what works well, then it's time to make a more final version of it with new stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So here's another compound with the same.
This will change a lot.
Yeah.
I already know. So originally we didn't want to create a quarry. We wanted to create like a stone carving place, a place that does like gravestones and things like that. I don't know the term for it out of my head, but like a gravestone maker and or other stone figures and so on. So you see, that was still the idea with this compound, and then later on, this fortunately was changed to a quarry, which is of course a lot more interesting.
Yeah. So we went from this to this.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest transition here.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, even from the first image to the second, it's like, it seems like it was a different idea on, like, for example, with the graves. Like you said,
I think the first image was just like barely any work done. I think this gravestone idea was there, if I remember correctly, but yeah, it was just not implemented basically.
Yeah, and then it completely changes to a different location. Awesome. Another fun. So this is again the very early version, and then
this is a landscape shot.
Really
yeah,
cool.
It's not a compound.
I mean, the compound is in the background. Yeah.
You'll see we have a big flowing river now there.
Yeah, so it's of a lakey.
Yeah, throughout the process of building it, there used to be more of the static, still water, but yeah, now it's just a big river, and it's an eye catcher for sure.
Looks really nice. This is also more of a landscape area.
Another angle on the river, basically.
Yeah, so here also it looks like it's like more of a lake, and then it turns into a river.
Yeah.
Same. Looks so cool. Again, like, this looks nothing like the end result. I love it.
Yeah, this changed a lot, the towns. But the main street layout is sort of similar. We added a lot more buildings, so it was a lot more like classical, like older compounds may maybe have, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 buildings or something like that. Maybe it was a bit more, but we added a ton on the outside. Basically, the goal was to create the streets. Like we wanted the rows of buildings, and in the streets we want like repetition, like in the lampposts, in the telegraph poles, and so on. Like you want to create lines and repetition, and then you get the streets. That was like one of the most important things there. Else it just looks like a little settlement or like a bunch of random houses, you know?
Yeah. That's super cool. You can the examples with the it's more
this
for
one
the
also
water meal.
changed a lot, yeah. Again, this just make it also more interesting in terms of art, you know, create this cool brick arches, create this cool brick foundation, and also how it's implemented into the landscape with a nice dam and all those sorts of things.
I see an interesting question actually. Like, how long does it take to go from the first stage to the third?
It's super hard for me to quantify because it's different for every compound, and we go on and off on those compounds, you know. It's a big iterative cycle, and people work also on different compounds, so they're not one artist, one compound from the start to the end, you know, they jump around. It's super hard for me to quantify this. It depends very much also on each compound. Like some go way faster. Some needs much less change. For example, you saw the mansion, right? The big plantation building. That is the idea was very good from the beginning, and there was not so much change. But then on others, we changed it a lot because we also ask people, and they think, hey, do you think this is good enough, or is this interesting enough, or special enough? Does it play good enough, and all those sorts of things. And a lot of is based on feedback from our peers and our stakeholders. And yeah, I cannot really put a number to it, but we go in iteration cycles and we try to improve it till we think we hit the quality goal.
It's awesome. And I think these are extraction points before
This
and
one's
after.
crazy.
Yeah. So as you can see, basically the only thing staying is the trail tech and the little the extraction vehicle or cart. Everything else just completely changes.
Oh, good.
It's amazing. And another extraction, same way. It's funny because the second image looks more similar to the previous maps, I guess, and then it turns into like a completely new environment for it. And then another last example of an extraction with a boat. It's a huge change as well. With a whole
Yeah, you
black
can
drop
also
changing,
see
yeah.
how much of a difference the autumn theme makes. It really
Yeah.
changes the whole picture.